website. About me, I am Sandeep Bhushan Thumala, and my credentials are I have 10 years of teaching experience for civil services. I teach international relations and internal security and the analysis of the Hindu newspaper. And this session will certainly help you to crack prelims and mains examinations because I would be emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases. So the keywords and the key phrases are key in regards to my entire lecture for the daily news analysis, and these keywords and key phrases will certainly help you or guide you to identify the factual, analytical and conceptual questions for the preliminary examinations. And these keywords, while you imbibe them in your answer writing, that is in regards to the mains examination, you will certainly score higher marks in the mains examination, because when you imbibe the keywords and the key phrases, your answers would be precise and concise. And once your answers are precise and concise, you will certainly score higher marks in the prelims as well as mains examination. So thereby the session, that is AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis, will certainly help you to crack both prelims and mains examination for 2020 as well as 2021. So therefore, now we will focus at the daily news analysis of 24th September 2020. And before we get into that, we will just focus at the quote of the day. And the quote of the day is, the best way to predict the future is to create it. So you know that for what purpose you are studying and what is your goal. So create your future, and then definitely you can make sure that you will attain your goal. The best way to predict the future is to create it. And before I get into the topic, I would say a warm welcome and a very good morning to all who are in the live and in the live chat also. So good morning to everyone, and good morning to Azmat Khan, Praveen, D. Suvarna, Lokesh Chandra, Ram Kumar, Ravi Teja, Srikant Yadav. All of you, a warm welcome to you all to AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis. Now we will focus at the news, which is the report which is by the Comptroller and Auditor General. So it's a report which has been tabled by the Comptroller and Auditor General in the Parliament on September 23rd, 20. And this report is definitely focusing at the Rafale vendors. It is focusing on the Rafale vendors. Vendors in the sense the one who have been part and parcel of the entire contract of the Rafale fighter jets, which were being sold, or India has purchased it from France. And the company, or the one aerospace major company of the Rafale vendor is Dassault Aviation. And you have this French aerospace and European missile maker. So they both are the vendors. They both are the vendors of the Rafale fighter jets. So from France or French, it is the Dassault Aviation, and from European missile maker MBDA. So what the Comptroller and Auditor General in its report, which has been tabled in the Parliament, makes it very clear that these two vendors did not confirm the transfer of technology. And this is the key word for you in regards to prelims as well as mains examination, that is the transfer of technology. The way the country, that is India, is moving forward since almost a decade and almost 1.5 decade, we are definitely wanting to go ahead with purchase of the equipments or the defense equipments, but in turn we wanted the transfer of technology also to be given to India. So that was the deal even in regards to the Rafale, and that is not confirmed. So what is that? That is the transfer of technology. The transfer of technology by the French and the European vendors for the Rafale fighter jets have not still confirmed the transfer of technology, because India won the transfer of technology so that India can go ahead with indigenous development. India can go ahead with indigenously developing the Indian manufacturing unit, so that India can use the transfer of technology for the development of indigenous engine for light combat aircraft, that is for LCA. So we want the transfer of technology for the indigenous development of engine for exactly for the light combat aircraft, and this is by asked by the DRDO, that is Defense Research and Development Organization, and enter this transfer of technology is being part of the contract wherein India has signed with the French to have or to go ahead with purchasing of 36 Rafale fighter jets, and the total amount is 60,000 crores. So in regards to the contract of purchasing 36 Rafale fighter jets from French for a value of 60,000 crores, it was agreed that the transfer of technology would be provided to India from the two vendors of Rafale fighter jet, that is French aerospace major, that is Dassault Aviation, and the other one is European missile maker MBDA. But still, the report, as per the report, Comptroller and our Auditor General says it very clear that we haven't still got any confirmation in regards to the transfer of technology by these two vendors. And in 2015, Dassault Aviation and MBDA, where they are the vendors of the Rafale fighter jets, they have proposed in 2015 itself, it was proposed that they will discharge 30% of their offset obligation in the Rafale deal. How they will discharge? That means once we have purchased the 36 fighter jets, the entire deal has been concluded. So in 2015 itself, the two vendors have agreed that they will offer high technology, that these two vendors of the Rafale fighter jets, they have agreed in 2015 itself, they will offer the high technology to DRDO, that is Defense Research and Development Organization, and that is as per the contract or as per the acquisition of technology by the DRDO. So DRDO will acquire the technology, and that will happen through the transfer of technology. So this is very crucial application part of it in regards to not just purchasing the fighter jets or the in regards to the equipments, defense equipments, but we are also really wanting the transfer of technology. So thereby they will discharge 30% of their offset obligation through offering high technology. And in 2006, DRDO has identified 6 new technologies to be obtained from the vendors of the Rafale jets in regards to the offset obligations. As they said that 30% of the offset obligations will be passed on to the DRDO through the transfer of technology, and DRDO will acquire the technology, but the vendors, who are the vendors here, as we discussed, the French and the European, the vendors did not agree on transfer of 5 technologies, and most of them were within the vendors' core competence. So as they were actually supposed to, as per the deal, they were supposed to pass on the transfer of technology to India, but still out of the 6 new technologies, the DRDO has identified that the vendors did not agree on the transfer of 5 technologies. So this is the cause of concern. Even though we have the first 3 Rafale jets which have been landed in India and they have been actually surveying in the eastern Ladakh, but still the 5 out of the 6 new technology which were supposed to be obtained by the DRDO, 5 are still not, and the vendors did not agree to transfer. And the 6th one is the proposal of the DRDO was to obtain the technical assistance for the indigenous development of engine. Which engine? That is, we are talking about the light combat aircraft, and name of the engine is Kaveri, and this is important for the preliminary point of view. So the name of the engine for light combat aircraft is Kaveri, and the transfer of technology through the acquiring the technology through the deal by the vendors to DRDO, wherein DRDO can go ahead with the development of the engine for the light combat aircraft. So this is the important understanding and the keyword conceptually, wherein how the technology, transfer of technology will help indigenous manufacturing units or the DRDO or indigenous or Indian defense system itself, that we are upgrading or we are going ahead with the development. And the CAG has also observed in its report that they have quoted the Rafale deal as an example, and they have said that many foreign vendors, not only in regards to the French or European, which is pertain to the Rafale, but even in the past also, many foreign vendors who had made commitments to qualify the main supply of contract by fulfilling the commitment of transfer of technology were not being actually been looked into, or they were not successful, or they did not abide by the contract of the commitments to qualify the main supply of the equipment. So the CAG has not only just focused on Rafale, but they have also found that in the past also there were many cases wherein foreign vendors were not really happy for the transfer of technology. So the core or the important keyword here is transfer of technology. So this will be a crucial information in regards to the science and technology for prelims as well as mains examination. So now we will also focus that transfer of technology is for developing the Indian defense industry, is to develop the Indian defense industry, and this was as per the offset policy. This is a keyword. So as per the offset policy of India, wherein India has adopted this offset policy in the year 2005. In the year 2005, that whichever or the way we go ahead with the purchase or the defense imports, which will be above 300 crores, the foreign vendor is required at least 30% of the value of the contract in India. So this is again the core understanding. So as per the offset policy which was adopted by the Indian defense in the year 2005, that when India goes ahead with imports of the defense equipments which are above 300 crores of rupees, wherein in that scenario on that contract the foreign vendor is required to invest at least 30% of the value of the contract in India. So if it is 300, out of that 30% they should invest in India through the transfer of technology. They should invest in India through the transfer of technology, and the Rafale deal was signed in the year 2016, and here 50% offset clause to be discharged by 4 French partners. So actually it is 300 crores if it is about 30%, if it is above 300 crores. Now in the case of Rafale it is 50% offset clause. So offset policy, look at it, this is a keyword, offset policy, and the offset clause in regards to India and then France purchase of the Rafale fighter jets was discharged by the 4 French partners, and these 4 again these are important for the preliminary examination point of view. So Dassault Aviation, MBDA, Safran and Thales. So these are the 4 French partners for the Rafale deal in regards to the offset clause. And the other one which is also very important for prelims point of view is Dassault Aviation has set up a joint venture with Indian company, that is Anil Ambani's Reliance Defense. Anil Ambani's Reliance Defense. So Dassault Aviation with Anil Ambani Reliance Defense, they have the joint venture, and that is called as, in toto or in result it is called as Dassault Reliance Aerospace Limited, DRAL, and which is situated in Nagpur, and they manufacture the components for the civil jets. So this is again the crucial or critical information for preliminary examination, which is the joint venture between the French partner Dassault Aviation and the Indian, that is Anil Ambani's Reliance Defense, is that it is Dassault Reliance Aerospace Limited, which is in Nagpur. All these are very, very crucial for preliminary. So the keywords which we are focusing are crucial for preliminary as well as mains examination. And then before I move to the next slide, I would say a very warm welcome to Madhu. Good morning to you. And there is another news which talks about the Supreme Court has granted relief to the Facebook officials. So now we know that this was in news. The Facebook was in news for almost couple of weeks, and there was in news because the Facebook had some kind of connection with the Delhi Roids, So definitely the news which is in regards to the Facebook or the Vice President and the Managing Director of the Facebook India Online Services Private Limited. So Ajit Mohan is the Vice President and Managing Director of the Facebook and India Online Services Private Limited. So he was summoned. To appear before the Delhi Legislative Assembly. So this was in news. So for this, why it is in the news today is the Supreme Court grants relief to Facebook official, that is the Vice President and Managing Director of Facebook India Online Services Private Limited, not entire Facebook, but Facebook India Online Services Private Limited. Who is that? Ajit Mohan. And when Delhi Legislative Assembly has summoned the Ajit Mohan or the Vice President and Managing Director to appear, so it was actually challenged by Ajit Mohan, and in turn Delhi Legislative Assembly has given a clarification to the Supreme Court that no coercive steps will be taken against Ajit Mohan. Please do understand. Actually, the Delhi Legislative Assembly has summoned. That means it has asked, or it has commanded, or it has demanded Ajit Mohan to appear in appear in front of Delhi Legislative Assembly, wherein they feel that he has some alleged or there is an allegation linked to the Delhi Roids. But later on, when Ajit Mohan has challenged the Delhi Legislative Assembly, compelling him to appear before the Legislative Assembly, so then the Delhi Legislative Assembly has clarified to the Supreme Court that they are not taking any coercive steps against Ajit Mohan. They have only called him as a witness and no coercive action was intended. Who is saying this? The Delhi Legislative Assembly is clarifying to the Supreme Court about the summoning of Legislative Assembly, that is Delhi, to Ajit Mohan. And Delhi Legislative Assembly says that we wanted to get some safeguard suggestions from Facebook. We do not want to go ahead with any kind of coercion. Coercion in the sense like kind of exerting pressure on Ajit Mohan. But we have called him only as a witness and to get some safeguard suggestions from Facebook. And the Delhi Legislative Assembly says that we wanted to find out how. The Delhi Assembly Legislative is clarifying the Supreme Court that we have called or summoned Ajit Mohan because we wanted to find out how Facebook was misused, and did not say Facebook misused. See, look at these keywords, two keywords, very minute, a very thin difference is there. The Delhi Legislative Assembly is saying we wanted to find out how Facebook was misused. And they are saying we did not say, Delhi Legislative Assembly is saying we did not say Facebook misused. We are trying to know how Facebook was misused. And this is what the senior advocate Abhishek Singhvi, representing the Delhi Legislative Assembly, has clarified to the court, to the Supreme Court. Are you getting the point? Here, the Delhi Legislative Assembly, which is represented by Abhishek Singhvi, has clarified to the Supreme Court that they are not having, or they are not coercing, or they are not pressurizing Ajit Mohan, the Vice President and Managing Director of Facebook India Online Services Private Limited, but they have summoned or called him only to as a witness, only to get some safeguard suggestions from the Facebook, and to wanted to know how Facebook was misused. And they are saying how Facebook misused, they are not saying. So only to know how Facebook was misused. So I think you have got the entire logic behind it. And the 3-judge bench is hearing this case in regards to the allegations the Delhi Legislative Assembly onto the Managing Director of Facebook Online Services. Justice S.K. Kaul has said that there is a disparity. Disparity in the sense there is no clarity in what Mr. Singhvi is submitting in the report and what they have summoned to the Managing Director, that is Ajit Mohan. And the clarification has come when a petition was filed. So when there was a petition filed by Mr. Ajit Mohan and Facebook against whom? Against the Committee of Peace and Harmony of Assembly. So when we are talking about Delhi Legislative Assembly was alleging the involvement of the Facebook. So it is on behalf of Delhi Legislative Assembly, you have a committee. That committee is called as Committee of Peace and Harmony. Committee of Peace and Harmony. And they have filed a petition in the Supreme Court, that is Mr. Mohan and the Facebook, saying that the Committee of Peace and Harmony do not have any authority, to compel on Mr. Ajit Mohan in regards to the Delhi riots. And Mr. Ajit Mohan makes it very clear that I have the right to remain silent. Please do understand here. Generally, you have right to speak, right to speech, or right to expression. But look at it here. Ajit Mohan is asking a right. He is saying, I have the right to remain silent. The right to free speech under Article 19 includes right to not speak. Look at the keyword here. This is very, very crucial for you all for a better conceptual understanding about Article 19, because we all know that Article 19 is what? Right to speech. But he says, Ajit Mohan says that I have the right to remain silent because the right to free speech under Article 19 includes the right to not speak. So this is the new point which we would, you all as a civil servant aspirant, you all can try to focus on, just not on right to free speech, but right to not speak also. And Mr. Mohan and Facebook have challenged the jurisdiction of the assembly to summon him. So that both of them have filed a petition in the Supreme Court and they are challenging the jurisdiction of the assembly. That how they can summon Mr. Mohan to attend in front of the committee. So the petition said that the issue comes within the exclusive jurisdiction of the union. Look at it. Look at it. Now the challenging or summoning a person, he says it is not in the ambit of the jurisdiction of the Delhi Legislative Assembly, but it falls in the exclusive jurisdiction of the union. Exclusive jurisdiction of the union. And it has asked whether the assembly has the privilege to include, to compel or to force the Ajit Mohan to appear before the committee. And then petitioner is also asking the Supreme Court to go ahead with a larger bench, so that there should be not only 3-member bench, but it should be more than that, so that they can decide whether a committee of the Delhi Assembly can compel or can pressurize or can ask the Mr. Mohan and the Facebook officials or the Facebook officials to attend, and this testimonize the issue of public order and police. So look at it, another keyword. So it is in regards to it, testimonize the public order and police, whether the Delhi Assembly has the right or it is under the jurisdiction of the Delhi Legislative Assembly to go ahead with the summoning the Facebook official. And the petitioner is also making it very clear that it falls under center union, that is under Article 239 and Article 239 AA of subclause 3 of again A of the Constitution. So the Article 239 and 239 AA are crucial information or the keyword for the preliminary examination, talking about the jurisdiction of the Legislative Assembly, whether it is under the jurisdiction of Assembly or it falls under the exclusive jurisdiction of the center or the union. So we have seen the article 19 and Article 239 and Article 239 AA of subclause 3 of A of the Indian Constitution. So we have the Supreme Court which is asking or giving some relief to the Facebook official in regards to the Delhi riots. And 8 bills were passed on the last day of the Rajya Sabha. So definitely we are focused yesterday that 7 bills were passed in just 2.5 hour time in Rajya Sabha. 7 bills. Yesterday we did discuss, and today we are talking about the another 8 bills which were passed on the last day of the Rajya Sabha. And Rajya Sabha has been adjourned sine die on September 23rd, 2020, and it has made it very clear that it has a productivity rate of over 100%, that is 100.47%, and it is one of the shortest monsoon sessions. It is one of the shortest monsoon sessions wherein it has only 10 sittings which has taken place, and 8 bills were passed ahead of the 18 planned sittings, and out of this 25 bills were overall 25 bills were passed, 6 bills were introduced, and the productivity rate is 100.47%, and the scheduled time, available time was 38 hours and 30 minutes, but actual functioning of the Rajya Sabha has taken place in regards to 38 hours and 48 minutes. So 11 minutes extra the house has functioned in regards to the number of sittings, that is 10 sittings. So out of 10 sittings, 25 bills were passed, 6 bills were introduced. So we will focus at what were the 8 bills which were passed in the Rajya Sabha on the September 23rd. We have seen even on September 2022 also there were 7 bills which were passed. And on the last day, the 8 bills are the Foreign Contribution Regulation Bill 2020, the Jammu and Kashmir Official Languages Bill 2020, third one is Bilateral Netting of Qualified Financial Contracts Bill 2020, the fourth one is the Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions Code 2020, which is related to labor, Industrial Relations Code again to labor, the Code on Social Security again to labor reforms, Appropriation Bill in regards to the taxes, and 2020, and Appropriation number 4 bill. So you have number 3 and number 4 bill. So these 8 bills were passed on the last day in the Rajya Sabha. So why I am stressing is these bills which have been passed and introduced in the Rajya Sabha are very crucial for preliminary examination as well as mains examination, because as these bills are passed which are related to various subjects we are talking about. So this is in regards to the money laundering or the foreign funds which are getting into India, and this is again in regards to the official languages. It is in regards to the languages, and this is in regards to the contract, financial contracts, and this again we have looked at labor laws, fine, and this is in regards to taxes. So if we focus, it will be covering almost all the subjects which are pertaining to the UPSC and all the papers of, that is, general essay and GS paper 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. So what is crucial is that you need to focus on this bill so that you will be benefited, or you will have additional information in regards to having a better understanding and then better writing an answer in the mains examination. And we will also focus once, for the benefit of you all, the 7 bills which were passed on September 22nd, 2020. So the first bill which was passed was on the Indian Institute of Information Technology Laws Bill 2020. So this is again in regards to, as we discussed, it is in regards to the universities, that is Indian Institute of Information Technology. And the other bill is Essential Commodities Bill. Again, this is in regards to the agriculture. So focus on, so look at it, economy again particular to agriculture. Banking Regulation Amendment Bill 2020. This is again in regards to the banking, focusing again in regards to the economy. And the fourth one was the Companies Amendment Bill. Again, this is in regards to the foreign investments, how they can have definitely some kind of privileges that the dispute mechanism can be taken up. And the Companies Amendment Bill, which is again in regards to the economy point of view. And the fourth one is the National Forensic Sciences University Bill 2020. This is in regards to the national universities, focusing on education. And then Rashtriya Raksha University, which is the bill which has been passed, and this is in regards to the defense, or kind of we have the national security. Part of the national security, you can write the Rashtriya Raksha University Bill as a short notes, wherein you have the Gandhinagar Police Training University as a national university itself. And the seventh one, Taxation and Other Laws Relaxation Amendment of Certain Bills 2020. So this again in regards to the taxation, which is again in regards to the economy. So you need to have a clear understanding about all the bills which have been passed and tabled in the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, especially in the winter session of 2020, because this is one of the shortest session with only 10 sittings. So you never know how UPSC might take this as an information to frame the question for preliminary examination. So do be having perfect information about it. And now, before I get into the next topic, Kalyan Chakravarti has joined. A warm welcome to you, Kalyan Chakravarti, to AKS IAS Academy of Daily News Analysis. And there is another news which talks about show cause notice. So this is a keyword here, that is a show cause notice has been issued to Sudarshan. So we know that this news, we are following it since almost 3 days, and then how the Supreme Court has asked the regulators and the government to intervene and then come up with the come up with the framing of the guidelines. We have discussed about the defense, we have discussed in regards to digital media, and then in regards to the managing of the media with various guidelines. So the government is there, the regulators are there, and then the Supreme Court was in the entire discussion what we have taken place. And now the union government has informed the Supreme Court that they have issued a show cause notice to Sudarshan TV under the Cable TV Network Act. So this is the keyword. What is the act? Under which act the government of India has given or issued a show cause notice to Sudarshan TV for airing a program. Under the Sudarshan TV airing a program, that is, they have conducted a program called as Bindas Bol, wherein in that they have accused the Muslims that they have infiltrated or they have got into the civil services with the help of the funding from the terror-linked organization. So how far it is true, we do not know. But it was the program which was taken up in the Sudarshan TV, and this has created, or it has accused the Muslims. So wherein a petition was filed in the Supreme Court, and then the Supreme Court has responded to the petitioner, and then it has asked the regulatories and the union government to come up with the various guidelines, and now the union government has informed the Supreme Court that they have issued the show cause notice, and now the show cause notice which has been issued by the union government to the Sudarshan TV will answer or will revert back to the union government, and that has to be again sent back to the Supreme Court. So the channel has been given time up to September 28 to respond to the show cause notice issued by the government, union government, to the Sudarshan TV. And the 3-judge bench also says it very clear that the further telecast of the program, that is Bindas Bol, has been stayed, has been stopped. And before this action has been taken up by the Supreme Court, or the petitioner has filed a case in the Supreme Court, 4 episodes have been already telecasted. And the court has also directed the government to submit a report of the response to the show cause notice given by union government to the Sudarshan TV, and that will be taken into consideration, and the further steps in regards to the proceedings of the courts in regards to the petitioner which has been filed in the Supreme Court will be taken up, and that would be subject to the result of the proceedings and orders of the court. So definitely this show cause notice in response, which the Sudarshan TV will forward it, or it will revert it back to the union government, the court directed the government to submit a report on the outcome of the notice. So look at it. It is not just the government giving or issuing a show cause notice to the Sudarshan TV. The court is asking the government to again submit a report on the outcome of the show cause notice. So now you are definitely understanding the intricacies of how the entire scenario is in regards to the Bindas Bol program in the Sudarshan TV. And you have another news which we will look at. The G4 countries are seeking time-bound reform. They are seeking time-bound reform on Security Council. Which Security Council are we talking about? United Nations Security Council. So who are the 4 countries or the group of countries who are wanting a time-bound reform? They wanted a reform. Definitely India is stressing for the reforms of Security Council. But the G4 countries are wanting a time-bound. That means a specific time has to be kept in mind, or it has to deliver the outcomes in a specific time-bound. And who are the 4 countries? The foreign ministers of the group 4, a group of 4 countries, that is India, Brazil, Japan and Germany. So these are G4 countries. Again, this is in regards to the international relations, which is dynamic part. You have static part and dynamic part. So this under the dynamic part, for the current affairs, in regards to the preliminary exam for UPSC, you need to focus that the group 4 countries or all the groups. I mean group 7, you have a G20, all these group 4, G4, G7, all this you need to keep it in mind for the preliminary. And this is the dynamic part, which the group 4 or group of 4 countries are seeking permanent membership of the United Nations Security Council. So they are wanting reforms to be taken up, and these reforms they are wanting that let it be that the 4 countries wanted or they are seeking the permanent membership in the United Nations Security Council. And the 4 countries are definitely stressing for a concrete outcome, and that concrete outcome which they are wanting, the time-bound reforms, those time-bound reforms should be in writing and within a time frame. That is, a time-bound reforms in writing has to be. That is what is demanded by group of 4 countries, that is India, Brazil, Japan and Germany. And India has put forth, that is the foreign ministers or the external affairs minister of India, or India's approach itself is in regards to the reformed multilateralism. So India is wanting reformed multilateralism approach India is going ahead in regards to the United Nations. And the other countries' foreign ministers, the other countries in the sense, Japan foreign ministers is Motegi Toshimitsu, has also been part of the foreign minister G4, wherein they're wanting the outcome to be in a within a time period or time bound, and it should be in writing. And the German foreign minister is Heiko Maas, and the Brazil's foreign minister is Ernesto Horoja. So all of them are demanding a concrete outcome, that too within a time bound and in a writing. And G4 ministers said, take decisive steps, take a fast steps or a concrete steps that would make sure that it would be early and comprehensive reform of the Security Council. So definitely they wanted the decisive steps for the early and comprehensive reforms, early and comprehensive reforms for the United Nations Security Council. And the G4 countries are making it very clear that they are wanting the United Nations Security Council or United Nations General Assembly to go ahead with reforms in the United Nations Security Council, because that was envisaged. This is crucial. This is crucial information for you all, because it is been envisaged by the heads of the state of government in 2005 World Summit. So it was discussed in the envisaged, or it was discussed in the 2005 World Summit by the heads of state of governments that there would be a definitely reforms to be taken up in the United Nations Security Council in the year 2005 in the World Summit. And this is the key word. And this is how you need to focus. And there could be a possibility that the question could be framed that why the 4 countries or G4 countries are wanting the United Nations General Assembly to take a decisive steps for an early and comprehensive reforms of the United Nations Security Council, because it was envisaged by the heads of the state of government in 2005 World Summit. This is a key. And G4 ministers have reiterated support for each other membership, because they know that all the countries, that is 4 countries, have the capacity and they have the willingness to take up major responsibilities in the world to make sure that they maintain international peace and security. So in regards to having the capacity and willingness to take the major responsibility to maintain the international peace and security, all the 4 ministers have reiterated the support for each other countries' membership to the United Nations Security Council permanent membership. And India will go ahead with commencing a 2-year non-permanent term of the UNSC right from January 2021, that is next year. And not only that, it would be a non-permanent member of the UNSC, but it is seeking a permanent member. It is seeking a permanent seat at the UNSC, that is United Nations Security Council. And it is definitely, India is definitely a proponent of having or seeking the permanent seat at the UNSC and various other UNSC reforms. That is, they wanted the increasing of the permanent number of the permanent member and increase of non-permanent members. So we have the membership in UNSC, that is total 15 we have. In that, permanent member you have 5, and then the non-permanent membership you have 10 countries. So what India is asking is, India is asking for increase in the permanent member count and increase in the non-permanent member count. Ensuring why it wanted, because it says that by doing so, by increasing the number of the permanent member and the non-permanent member, it will ensure greater representation, and it will want even the developing countries to be part of the permanent members. And along with that, it is wanting a greater representation for Africa also. IS has joined A warm welcome to you, IS. Very good morning to you. And now we will focus, or we'll just recapitulate the DNA. So here we have spoken about this is in regards to the science and technology. It is in regards to the technology transfer, which will be very useful for prelims as well as mains. And here this is in regards to, we have focused how the Facebook officials have challenged the Delhi Legislative Assembly Committee, which has summoned the official Facebook officials, bringing in Article 19 and 239. So this again, for polity point of view, for prelims it is useful, because it is not just Article 19 right to speak, but right not to speak also the petitioner has questioned. And then this is in regards to the bills. This is exclusively for prelims and for mains. All the bills which have been passed and introduced in the Rajya Sabha. And then show cause notice, this again in regards to the television, which they have gone ahead with broadcasting of the televisions programs which have been broadcast. So the government itself has issued a show cause notice. And G4 summit, G4-6 time bound reform. So definitely on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly, the G4 foreign ministers are seeking the time bond of UNSC. So again, United Nations Security Council, based on this, in regards to the international relations, current affairs, there could be a question framed. So you have to focus this. So definitely, I hope this session was informative, knowledgeable, and it will definitely make sure that you have an edge over others in the prelims and mains examinations because of the daily news analysis at AKS IAS Academy. And I would say a very big thank you to all and a good luck to you all. And then do like the video, subscribe the video and share the video, and then do visit AKS IAS Academy and also subscribe the Telegram link of AKS IAS Academy. And then see you again tomorrow with the daily news analysis at 7:30 AM. Do maintain consistency throughout your preparation, and then do stick to your schedule, and then take care of your physical health and mental health. And then again, see you tomorrow. Thank you very much.